Thanks for watching this edition of the Fox 7 Austin CrimeWatch digital exclusive. I'm Dave Froehlich, and we're taking a look at some of the crime stories that have recently made headlines in our area. One Austin police officer is no longer on patrol after he was seen punching someone on 6th Street. The mayor is calling for that officer to be fired. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has the story.
Video from Friday night on 6th Street shows an Austin police officer clock a man in an orange shirt. That happened after this video. It shows an officer on top of someone punching him. Another officer gets on top and punches him too. It appears some sort of drink is thrown on him. He gets up, pushes people back, then puts a woman's hands behind her back. The man in orange is seen saying something to the officer. The officer, walking with the woman, eventually lets her go and punches the person in the orange shirt. People can be heard yelling. In a statement, Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis says she shares the community's concern and takes the matter very seriously. An officer is no longer patrolling and has been placed on restricted duty while the department, along with the Office of Police Oversight, investigates. Austin Mayor Kirk Watson says in a statement, the action is inexcusable and indefensible. He's calling on the chief to fire the officer. The Police Association president says more information is needed.
Making conclusions based on that little information is not just detrimental to an unbiased investigative process, but it's also irresponsible because it's an unfair assessment of what actually happened.
Court documents state before all of this was captured on camera, an officer was trying to break up a fight when he was, quote, unexpectedly attacked from behind by a man named Johnny Acuna Jacobo. The officer says the blows caused immediate, sharp pain and disorientation. He took Jacobo to the ground, started punching him in the face with closed fists to restrain him.
If officers are being assaulted and they're being encroached on, you're on 6th Street, it's known to have guns, knives, weapons, drugs, all kinds of different things. People are intoxicated. Again, alcohol or drugs can be involved. Fights happen all the time. It's an extremely violent environment, and you have two officers that are trying to deal with the situation alone. Like, those are all factors that play into what an officer's response would be. But again, right now, we don't have enough information to say whether anything wrong, if any wrongdoing has occurred or not.
Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Austin police say a man was standing outside a 7-Eleven when he was gunned down in a drive-by shooting. This happened early on October 12th on Rutland Drive near Metric in North Austin. APD says the suspect vehicle pulled up, opened fire, and drove off. 37-year-old Quentin Arnold was killed. Police are asking for help as they try to track those suspects down. The brother of a man killed in a South Austin crash is speaking out. We're also learning more about the suspect who's been charged in the case. Here's Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shin.
47-year-old Samson Seablum was a people person. His brother John says he made sure you weren't missing out.
He was always like the big brother, you know. He always went to the parties and like going downtown, hanging out in San Marcos.
Samson was a volunteer manager for South by Southwest for years. He was into programming and photography.
He was the nicest, funniest.
But on August 11th, at the intersection of South 1st Street and William Cannon Drive, his life was cut short. Police say 37-year-old James Durbin was speeding, ran a red light, and T-boned Samson's car. According to the arrest affidavit, Durbin was going 94 miles per hour 5 seconds before the crash. The impact speed was 89 miles per hour. The speed limit on William Cannon Drive is 40 miles per hour. Investigators found an open bottle of vodka on the back floorboard of his car and a canister of nitrous oxide. Durbin was charged with manslaughter for Samson's death and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon because a pedestrian was injured from debris from the crash.
I didn't believe it. I still don't believe it. It was the craziest part about the whole thing was my mom was on the phone with him when it happened.
John's message to others to not speed or drive recklessly.
You know, like, oh, just going that extra, like 80 miles an hour, on the highway, an extra 10 miles, like, ain't gonna do If you like going through what I'm going through now, like how it affects everybody for the rest of their life, was it worth it?
Angela Shen, Fox 7 Austin News.
Austin and Houston police worked together to arrest a man accused of stealing a car here in Austin and several others in Houston. This is 32-year-old Dexter Carrington. Austin police say he stole a 2025 Nissan from a secured lot in South Austin on September 8th. Later that same day, Carrington sold the stolen car to another Austin car dealer for $17,000 using a fraudulent title. The dealership realized what happened and canceled the payment, which caused Carrington to come back, and that's when he was arrested. Turns out Carrington has been linked to about 20 similar auto theft cases, including 4 in Houston. A traveling veterinarian based in Houston is behind bars for allegedly sexually assaulting a minor. The FBI has had more than a dozen other victims come forward since the girl and her mother went to police. Here's more from Fox 7 Austin's Katie Pratt.
52-year-old Gregory Ford of Houston is sitting in the Marion County Jail in Florida after a criminal complaint was filed against him out of Alabama. The world-class traveling veterinarian is accused of grooming an underage girl, exchanging nude photos, and having an ongoing sexual relationship.
The relationship started when she was 16, and it went on for about 2 years. According to FBI, they're interviewing a number of potential victims, and there could be upwards of 13 to 15 other women.
The arrest shocking much of the horse world, including a barrel racer who has known Dr. Ford for more than 20 years.
I would have never thought it. Never in a million years would I have thought it. But he proved me wrong.
Ford specializes in performance equine care. According to documents, the victim began working at his practice when she was 16. She graduated high school early and was a freshman in college, traveling with 5 other teens her age.
There were numerous young girls that wanted to work in the industry of horses and be able to train in this field. So she was very excited to get the opportunity to be able to intern with a veterinarian like Dr. Ford.
There were always young girls around, and I thought, well, how nice of him that he's mentoring these young horse girls.
The victim's mother went through her phone and found sexually explicit text messages between her daughter and Ford. The mother went straight to the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office to report it.
Dr. Ford was professing his love, saying that this was the love of his life. They should get married, and even though he was already married, by the way, and run away. And he was literally cutting and pasting those text messages and stories to the other girls. You could compare them side by side, and they're nearly identical.
Ford then threatened the victim's mother when she confronted him, writing in part that he had, quote, already paid a dear friend from the CIA to long rifle a bullet in her chest.
I've spoken with a number of other victims directly who felt that they were the only one.
Due to the nature of these crimes, major crimes detectives and the FBI believe there are likely more victims across the United States. Anyone with information is asked to contact the number on your screen.
Charges against 2 mortuary workers accused of experimenting on corpses have been dismissed. In April, Adeline Bowie and Dr. Aaron Ali were both arrested and accused of using a former embalmer's name on death certificates and injecting formaldehyde into severed arms to see their effects over time. Bowie is also accused of using her real estate license to have grieving families list their homes with her to pay for funeral expenses. Police say about 15 bodies were experimented on with the permission of Ali's company, Med to Market. Ali's abuse of a corpse charge and perjury charge were both dismissed by the Travis County District Attorney. Bowie's abuse of a corpse charge was dismissed, but she still faces 5 counts of tampering with government records. 2 San Antonio police officers were recently shot and injured, and the person who shot at them was killed. Fox 7 Austin CrimeWatch reporter Meredith Aldis has more.
A woman calling 911 and a man taunting police are somehow related in this officer-involved shooting. Now, was this a setup or possibly a domestic violence situation? We don't know yet.
We just heard really loud, They weren't crazy loud, but they were gunshots, like you could tell. But it went on for at least a minute.
San Antonio Police Chief Bill McManus says a little before 8:30 Wednesday morning, an officer and a cadet were sitting in a parking lot off Highway 90 when a man started taunting them from the other side of the fence in the motel parking lot.
They ignored him.
Chief says then a woman called 911 from the area.
There was a female calling. She was whispering.
Another officer pulled up on the other side of the parking lot, and the man started walking away.
He told the officers, "I'm not going back to prison. I'm not going back to jail." And at that point, he started running, and as he was running, he started pulling at his waistband, pulled out a pistol, and the officers and the suspect exchanged gunfire. And as the suspect was pulling out that gun, shooting him, one of the officers jumped on him.
The man was shot dead in the parking lot.
I didn't really hear any shouting or any commotion, nothing like get on the ground or anything like that. Just one shot, and then I heard multiple shots after that.
The officers and cadet fired their guns. The two officers were shot and taken to the hospital. The cadet was not hurt.
We were very, very lucky.
A woman who works in the area says she sees violence often.
But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the drugs around here. A lot of people on drugs.
Chief McManus says the average years of service for the officers involved in the shooting is between 5 and 6 years. San Antonio police say they're waiting for the medical examiner to check the man's fingerprints to identify him. We're told the officers are expected to be okay. Reporting in San Antonio, Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
The trucking industry says many products on store shelves may soon become more expensive because thieves are disrupting the supply chain. Fox's Chelsea Torres has more from San Antonio.
The trucking industry moves nearly 3/4 of cargo across the U.S., and truckers say thieves aren't just stealing the old-fashioned way.
Before 2020, it was more just straight thefts, where people were coming in, they would cut the seals, take cargo out of it.
A member of the American Trucking Association tell me fraudsters are using the internet to steal more cargo than ever before.
This is much more tech-driven. By transnational organizations operating out of Eastern Europe, Russia.
Adam Blanchard, co-founder of two Texas freight companies, say it's now an epidemic.
They stole my identity as a freight brokerage in order to get cargo from other companies and tender it to legitimate motor carriers. And I started having legitimate trucking companies reaching out to me, asking for payment for freight that wasn't mine.
As for the cargo, the bad guys tell the truck drivers to deliver it to a warehouse.
They'll steal that freight, put it in containers, best we can tell. A lot of it's going to the LA area and transporting it to other countries.
Blanchard traced the fraudsters back to Eastern Europe. He says they stole a load of energy drinks, but these crimes are hard to report.
So the problem is we don't have mandatory reporting. So a lot of these go unreported.
So far this year, California, Texas, and Illinois rank in the top 3 for cargo theft. The ATA says cargo theft is a $19 million a day hit to the trucking industry. Now, with the holidays coming up, truckers say all this theft could lead to higher prices for gifts.
Because when they're seeing products not arrive on the shelves, there's a shortage of that, the costs go up. There's a reflection in what you, I, and everyone else pays for the things that we want and need.
Williamson County jury sentenced a Georgetown man to 90 years in prison after he was convicted on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child. 43-year-old Richard Ramos was representing himself at trial, which allowed him to directly face his victims during testimony. A guilty verdict was reached in less than an hour. It all comes from reports from 6 and 10-year-old kids who claimed Ramos touched them inappropriately. In addition to the 90-year sentence, he's required to register as a sex offender for life and will not be eligible for parole until at least 30 years are served. Also in Williamson County, one man was arrested and charged with murder. Williamson County sheriffs went to check on reports of a shooting at a home on Parma Lane. When they got there, they found a woman who'd been shot. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. That victim was identified as 43-year-old Toriro Ikpi. Detectives later determined this was a domestic violence-related homicide. Her husband was arrested and charged with murder. A family who lives in San Marcos is suing the school district, claiming coaches and administrators didn't take a sexual assault accusation seriously and then retaliated against them. School district's denying all the allegations. Here's more from Fox 7 Austin CrimeWatch reporter Meredith Aldis.
A federal lawsuit against San Marcos CISD has been filed. The suit alleges district officials ignored warnings about a hazing culture on the San Marcos High School baseball team, failed to act after a sexual assault, and retaliated against the victim's older brother. The Rowleys claim in October 2023, their son, a freshman at the time, was sexually assaulted in the locker room after baseball practice. The assault was reported to police in the district about a year later, when he came forward after his brother, a senior at the time, was accused of towel whipping another student in the cross-country locker room. The lawsuit claims no one was disciplined for the sexual assault, but the older brother, who was apparently a straight-A student, had no disciplinary record and was trying to become an EMT, was found to have committed assault and was sent to an alternative campus for 45 days and unenrolled from the EMT program.
Here where we have the stark difference between the sanctions after a complaint, we can only conclude that it's been retaliatory.
The family's attorney, Andrew Miltenberg, says this has impacted the family.
For both brothers, the educational environment became incredibly hostile. And for the parents, the community became hostile.
They're seeking damages for emotional, educational, and reputational harm. They also want the district to correct disciplinary records and make changes to their Title IX practices.
This district has become a real concern. The manner in which they've treated hazing, sexual assault, the manner in which they've retaliated against a family that complained, the lack of accountability, all of those things are very concerning. And I suspect that as the lawsuit goes forward, we're going to find this isn't the only incident that occurred.
In a statement, a San Marcos CISD representative says in part, quote, "District administration always takes all allegations of misconduct seriously and thoroughly investigates any complaints made by parents or students," which is exactly what happened in this case. They say they deny all allegations. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Hays County officials have voted to end their contract with Flock cameras. The move has drawn criticism from police unions who say the license plate readers are some of the most effective tools they have when it comes to catching criminals. Fox 7 Austin's Marco Bittnell has that story.
Just to make sure what the public is hearing, this vote is to kill the Flock contracts countywide. Please call the roll.
On Tuesday, that vote passing 3-2 in the Hays County Commissioner's Court, bringing an end to the county's relationship with Flock Safety.
These cameras are no longer a good fit for our community.
Judge Ruben Becerra spearheaded the effort to cancel the contract with Flock. The Hays County Sheriff's Office was already using 6 of the license plate readers, and in February, the Commissioner's Court voted to purchase 4 more. But through a clerical error, it needed their approval again.
Thank God there was a problem and had to come back to court.
It was then that the public started coming forward with concerns on Flock's track record, with claims that the data was being misused and made available to outside agencies such as ICE to track down immigrants.
Too many civil liberties concerns were being raised by folks. Too many privacy concerns, too many breaches of information.
But for law enforcement, the new vote means the loss of what some are calling an invaluable asset.
This tool specifically has been shown to have up to 70% reduction in crime.
Jennifer Zamansky is the Deputy Executive Director for CLEAT, which represents over 28,000 officers across the state. As a former officer in the APD Intel Division, she stresses how crucial these cameras can be.
The apprehension of suspects can be very timely and can be done in a much quicker manner with this technology.
Flock cameras can identify stolen vehicles in real time, providing leads to law enforcement on suspects' whereabouts.
The technology itself is no different than an officer running a license plate in their own patrol car. The difference is how quickly it does that and how many we can capture at once.
Zamansky believes the decision to remove the cameras comes down to a false view on how the data is used.
It's an anti-police position to take. Police officers are not using this data for any reason other than to capture criminals.
But Judge Becerra argues that the problem is not with the Hays County Sheriff's Office, but with Froehlich itself.
Just because there is one of the myriad of tools that we have said we don't like the reputation this company has, doesn't make us anti-police.
Austin police may soon change their use of force policy. Comes after an expert highlighted issues with training and data collection. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has that story.
When you can see the gun.
7 officer-involved shootings in Austin this year. These are the most severe uses of force. And on a scale used by Austin police, it's considered a level 1. Statistics show the number of people who had force used against them last year was almost 3,000, with level 1 at less than 1%. This chart shows the percentages of people who were arrested and had force used against them.
The interesting thing about this, however, is that many of the agencies that I work in, you see these numbers, these percent of arrestees that have force used against them are much lower, looking at 5 to 6% rather than the 9, 10, 11% that we see in the Austin Police Department.
Dr. Robin Engel, hired to look at APD's use of force, says there's a reason, though.
Very minor interactions between the officer and the subject are counted by the Austin Police Department as force, which is why you see these elevated percentages here.
She says a use of force task force has been created to help address the inconsistencies. They've also been working to get the department all on the same page regarding use of force.
What we really need to be thinking about is how do we change the culture? How do we ingrain de-escalation as not just acceptable, but expected?
She says it starts with the top. The task force is recommending all sergeants go through a week-long training using what's called the ICAT model.
We're teaching officers, and they talk about spinning the model, meaning you collect information, you're assessing that situation, your threats and your risks, you consider your police powers and agency policy, identify options and determine the best course of action, you act, you review, you step back and reassess.
She says this is one of the ways to reduce the risk of officer and citizen injury. The task force is proposing a change to the current use of force policy to put everything into a single, straightforward policy. It's currently in draft form. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch.
Well, we thank you for watching this Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch YouTube exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. For more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel. You can watch our content and our shows with our Fox local apps. They're free to download, and you can stream on your phone and on connected TV apps like Roku and Apple TV.